Welcome to the worship service of First Baptist Church West, held on March 18th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Dr. Woods preached on the message Real Faith, taken from the book of Matthew, chapter 14, verses 22 through 33.
ways in which you've allowed our golden moments to roll on just a little while longer. We thank you for mercy and grace, but we thank you most of all for your Son Christ and his deep abiding love for us. I pray now that Ricky might die, that Christ might speak high to the high cross. May the words we heard be the words of a risen Savior, who offers both spirit and life everlasting. It was in his name and for his sake we pray. Amen. It's good to be here in the Lord's house on this day that the Lord has made with the people of God. I greet you all, my brothers and sisters, with Jesus' joy and count it a privilege to be in the number once again. Thank the praise team for blessing us by way of music and our musicians and all of you, my Father's children. Grace and peace be unto you. There's a word that I want to lift today that is found in the Gospel of Matthew as we are continuing this Lenten season, as we're making our way toward the cross and the empty tomb of Easter morning. Matthew chapter 14, beginning at verse 22. Matthew chapter 14, beginning at verse 22. Hear now the reading of the sacred text. Immediately he made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side, while he sent the crowds away. And after he had sent the crowds away, he went out to the mountains by himself to pray when it was evening, and he was there alone. But the boat was already a long distance from the land, battered by the waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, he came to them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified and said, "It's a ghost!" And they cried out in fear, but immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." Peter said to him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." And he said, "Come." And Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came toward Jesus. But seeing the wind, he became frightened and began to sink. He cried out, "Lord, save me." And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and took hold of him and said to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got into the boat, the wind stopped. And those who were in the boat worshiped him, saying, "You are certainly God's Son." Thus ends the reading of the sacred text. Pray with me, if you will, for a little while today from this subject, real faith. Real faith. Philip Yancey, in his wonderful book, Soul Survivor, tells the story of how his faith survived the church. For there are times when the church does not nurture faith, but suppresses faith. The church suppresses faith when religion is used as a weapon to punish the nonconformity to a worldview that is often narrow in its thinking about the meaning of faith. The church suppresses faith when young girls are told that their gender excludes them from some religious services. The church suppresses faith when it partners with the powerful to oppress the strides of the powerless toward equity and equality. Sometimes the church fails so miserably in its high calling that people began to think that they are better off without the church. In our post-modern culture, many see faith as a private matter, and what one chooses to do or not do is between them and God and does not concern you or me in any way. This kind of thinking has led to an abuse of freedom, where freedom in Christ is now translated to mean freedom to do whatever I choose. It doesn't matter what I choose to do because God knows my heart. This is nothing new, and we see it in this text demonstrated by a lead apostle who should have known better. It's amazing how our cultural view can affect how we see a text. and how where we stand in our cultural location informs our reading and understanding of sacred texts. And far too often, this particular text that has been read in our hearing has been championed for individualism, for Peter having been portrayed as a person of great faith with a unique request. Lord, if it's you, let me come to you on the water. Now, I confess to you that I too have been guilty of viewing the text from this tainted lens, talking about the importance of getting out of the boat and being bold and trusting God for something big, and how you too can walk on water if you just have enough faith. But is that really what this text is about? It seems to me now, in a further mature thinking of this text, that this text is not about keeping your eyes on Jesus so you will not sink. This story is about the boat and those who stayed in the boat during a storm without Jesus, trusting that what Jesus had provided in the storm would see them through the storm. This story is about our ability, the ability of a frightened community to stay together and trust what God had provided in the midst of a storm. Sometimes we can become so focused on the supernatural that we miss what God is doing in the ordinary situations of life itself. It took far more faith, I want to suggest to you, to stay in the boat than it did to get out of the boat. And what we need today is a faith that will stay in the boat, though frightened, though storm-tossed, and see the power of a community that trusts in a God and that trusts in each other. What this recent national and world crisis of this corona crisis is causing us to seek to do is to rethink the meaning of faith. Faith is not our reaching up and claiming whatever we want. Faith is about our trusting God and trusting one another and staying loyal and true to the things that matter and anchor us in life in life's difficult moments. So much of what I have learned and who I am is a direct result of being in the boat that is the church. My life choices, my sense of duty, my respect of my elders, my belief in a power beyond myself all came from me just being in the church. I guess you could say long before I had a personal encounter with Jesus, I was socialized into the life of the church, and I understood his language, his rhythm, and his vocabulary, and somehow or another, because of that socialization, one day God got a hold of me. There have been many times when I have been tempted to get out of the boat, to give up on the church because of the ways in which it sometimes fails us, and in ways, quite honestly, sometimes that it wounds us. But I'm reminded again that it takes more faith to stay in the boat than to get out of the boat. This is a story about having faith to stay in the boat. Now, I know some of you are probably even asking now, why should I stay in the boat? Given that I can't even make my way to the church house, why should I stay in the boat? Given this national crisis that we are dealing with, and I don't know what tomorrow or even the next hour will hold, why does it matter or not whether I stay in the boat? But I'm glad that you asked. By staying in the boat, we give Jesus a place to come to meet us. And although it is true that Jesus was walking on the water, he was headed toward them. The water was not his destination, the boat was. And it just so happens that Jesus performed a miracle in order to get there. You see, Jesus does not walk on the water just to perform the miracle. He walks on the water to get to those who are struggling in the storm. When we read the text carefully, we see that Jesus has sent them to go to the other side while he goes up to the mountain to pray. But even in his prayer time with his Father, he is aware of the struggles of his children. He sees them struggling in such ways that he cuts his time short with God in order to make haste to see about them. The winds were against them. Their safety was in jeopardy. So Jesus moves toward them speedily while traveling on a liquid sidewalk. Peter's request to join Jesus on the water reveals how even disciples can be the agents and forces and voice of the demonic. Whenever we reduce our faith in God to only a God that can perform miracles, we have lost our way. Lord, if it be you, bid me to come, sounds a lot like, if you are the Son of God, turn these stones to bread. The Eternal should not have to always prove his commitment to us by empowering us to do something extraordinary. I don't know about you. I'm just glad that he touched me with a finger of love this morning and started me on my way and gave me a reasonable portion of health and strength and gave me clarity of mind. That's enough for me. He doesn't have to do anything extra. It was just gravy that I found the last carton in. But God desires most of us is our willingness to do the ordinary things in life and see how faith in him helps us to be faithful in the ordinary. In the Christian calendar is broken up into various times of the year. We are now in that season of Lent. Other seasons are seasons of Epiphany and seasons of Advent. But the longest period of time on the Christian calendar is what scholars refer to as ordinary time. Not time that we can identify in any specific way. It's just a time that God is with us in the ways and affairs of our lives. Even Jesus' brief journey on the water eventually brought him back to the boat. Never forget that Jesus was headed to the boat. And when we stay together, we give Jesus a place to come and fellowship with us. That's why week after week we keep coming back to places of worship to offer our prayers, our songs, our praises, and our encouragement to give Jesus a place to come and see us in the midst of life's story. And the good news is that he keeps showing up. Because he declares where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I will be in the midst. So it does not matter the size of how many people are in the boat. The fact that there is a boat where there are 1 or 2 together, Jesus is making his way where you are. So stay in the boat. For real faith is seen by staying in the boat. But the text also tells us something else. Whenever our faith is concerned only about our desires and our need, void of the community, it's a faith that will sink. At the heart, Peter's request to join Jesus on the water is selfishness. Lord, if it's you, let me come to you on the water. And whereas Peter is a part of a community that has been called to follow Jesus, and Peter is a part of a broader group that all share the same designation of apostles, and where Peter is a part of a company that shares the same dangers from the storm and had been fighting just like everyone else, when he sees Jesus walking on the water, he does not say, Lord, let us come. He simply says, let me come. We should never allow the crisis in our lives to drive us to a point of selfishness to where we're no longer concerned about the others that we share community with. So we shouldn't hoard unnecessary supplies during this crisis that we don't need, so that there will be something left for our neighbors and our friends. We should never be so selfish to be just concerned whether or not if I get my paycheck, that I have no concern for those who were let go this week or will be let go in the days ahead and will not know how to make ends meet. We must maintain what it means to be a part of a caring, nurturing community that is concerned about everyone, because that's the demonstration of real faith. Peter shows no concern about others in the boat with him. Let me come to you. And that there's no denying that Peter has become the leader of the band of apostles by now. He does express leadership by definition of responsibility. By only concerned with his private issues, Peter lets everyone else down. And out of the boat and on the water, in a brief moment of time, Peter begins to sing. The text says when Peter saw how strong the wind was blowing, he began to sing. I want to suggest to you that it was not the wind that made Peter sing. You see, the wind was always blowing because they were in a storm. Nor was it Peter's taking his eyes off Jesus that made him sing. What made Peter sing was his independent action. He was only concerned about Peter. What was missing when Peter needed it most was the presence of others on the journey of faith with him. What was missing was the presence of others in the boat, blocking the wind, sheltering one another, and taking some bite out of the wind. Peter sunk because he tried to walk alone. Eugene Boring states that what this story tells us that even disciples can become agents of Satan when faith is veiled as self-serving activity. We must always fight the temptation to act independently in ways that may harm others or disconnect us from those that God has called us into relationship with. You see, it's hard for faith to survive outside the boat. We're told to pray for one another, to share with one another, to protect one another, to encourage one another, to build up one another, and to love one another. And none of those things can be done acting alone. Faith that tries to make it alone, even while trying to get to Jesus, is sure to sink. So stay in the boat, where the songs of the saints can comfort you in the storms of life. Stay in the boat where the prayers of the righteous can give you strength. Stay in the boat where fellowship makes burdens light and words of hope give wings of faith to fly. Stay in the boat. But finally, the manifestation of real faith is not found on the water, but in the boat. It is only after that they got in the boat that the wind ceased. There are some places that we can go, my brothers and sisters, where the storms cannot harm us. I used to hear the old saints sing a song, I'm going to hide behind the mountain. I'm going to hide behind the mountain where the chilly winds do not blow. And then they were declaring that Jesus is that mountain. Jesus is that mountain where no chilly winds blow. In the boat with Jesus, the wind ceased and the storm passed. In the boat, that instrument, although natural, that God had provided became the place of safety for all of them. In the boat, that provision of providence, they fell down and worshiped him there. And not just Peter, but all of them in the boat worshiped Jesus. In the boat, that vehicle of victory in the storm, is where Jesus and his disciples show us the power of real faith. It is the power to trust what God has provided. A boat that is often found on a stormy sea, but a boat that never sinks. Real faith is the power to stay in relationships with God has placed us in to grow and learn from each other through both our successes and our failures. Real faith is the power to do the ordinary things when others only want to focus on the extraordinary. Real faith is manifested not on the waters of life, but in the boat that is the church of the living God. Almost everything good in my life that has happened to me has happened because of the church. The church has been good to me. The church has loved me and nurtured me. It has disciplined me and given me every opportunity to grow, to be a better man, to be a better person, to be a better Christian. So come what may, I'm going to stay on the boat, that old ship of Zion. For I have heard that it has landed many of thousands. And so if you want to see Jesus, get on board. Stay on the boat. For real faith is found in the boat. Let's pray. Father, thank you for a rich word that challenges us in the midst of crisis. It causes us not to think so much about the extraordinary, but the ordinary. And what it means to be faithful when our lives are challenged by difficulty and hardship and change that we cannot seem how to get our arms around. Real faith is seen in how we trust what you provide, even in these crisis moments, and believe that what you have provided will be sufficient. So help us to anchor our faith in what you have provided and to hold on to that faith. Now bless us and help us and aid us. Relieve our anxieties and calm our fears and our anxiousness. And help us to drink deep from the wells of faith as we hold on, determined not to let go. In Jesus' name, amen. the Lord bless you. And may the Lord keep you. May the Lord cause his face to smile upon you. May the Lord forever give you peace and real faith. And to that moment where we come, where faith will become sight. Former things will have been done away with.